Now let me talk to you for a minute. You see them every day, don't you? The folks who cut you off in traffic, no signal, and then give you a dirty look like you did something wrong. It's a special kind of audacity. The ones who take all the credit for your hard work, smiling all big and shiny in the boss's office while you're left completely invisible. You see the person who cheats on their good, loving partner, breaking a sacred trust without a second thought, thinking they're slick and getting over. They walk around with their chests all puffed out, a smug grin on their face, convinced they're the smartest people in the world. They believe they have pulled a fast one on life itself, and for a little while, it sure looks like they have, doesn't it? It can make you scratch your head, can't it? It can even make you question things. You sit there trying to do the right thing every single day, holding on to your principles. You're honest, you're kind, you put in the extra hour, and yet sometimes it feels like you're just spinning your wheels in the mud, getting absolutely nowhere fast. Meanwhile, Mr. Slick and Miss Sneaky are driving past you in a brand new car, waving and laughing. So let's break it down. What is this karma thing everybody's always talking about? You hear people say it all the time. Someone does something wrong and your friend says, "Oh, karma's gonna get him." But what does that really mean? Think of it like this. Life is like a big giant echo. If you stand at the edge of a canyon and you shout out something good, something kind, like "I love you," what do you hear back? You hear "I love you" right back at you. It's not magic, it's a natural law, just like gravity. If you jump up, you're gonna come back down. If you put out negativity, meanness, and deceit, that same energy is going to find its way back into your own life. Alright, let me tell you a story. I knew this fella, let's call him Frank. Frank was a manager at a big company, a real shark in a suit who believed the world owed him something. He'd climbed the ladder by stepping on a few hands along the way, never looking back. He had a little bit of power, and that power went straight to his head like cheap liquor. It made him feel important, invincible even. He walked the halls with an intimidating presence, making sure everyone else knew he was the one in charge. He was the kind of boss who enjoyed making his employees feel small. He would yell at people in front of everyone else, creating a public spectacle just to assert his dominance. It was a power play, pure and simple, and he seemed to relish the fear in their eyes. He would steal their ideas and present them as his own to his higher-ups, never giving an ounce of credit where it was due. To him, his team's creativity was just another resource to be mined for his own advancement. His favorite target was a young man named David. David was smart, hardworking, and had a lot of great ideas. But David was also quiet, and Frank saw this not as a virtue, but as a weakness to be exploited. Every chance he got, Frank would belittle David's work, shoot down his proposals, and tell him he'd never amount to anything. He was chipping away at David's confidence, piece by piece. Frank was building his own little kingdom on the backs of good people like David, and he thought he was untouchable. He was the king of his little castle, and his employees were just pawns in his game. David, meanwhile, got so tired of being treated like dirt that he finally decided to leave the company. He wasn't just leaving a job, he was escaping to save his own spirit. He went to a smaller, newer company where his ideas were not just heard, but celebrated. He started to shine, just like he was always meant to. Frank just laughed when he heard David had left, saying the kid couldn't handle the pressure. But see, here's where the story gets interesting. Life has a funny way of turning the tables. The small company that David went to work for started to grow, and it grew fast. After about 5 or 6 years, that little company got so successful that it ended up buying the big old company where Frank still worked. And guess who was chosen to lead the new merged department that Frank was in? You guessed it. It was David. Now, can you just picture the look on Frank's face? Let's talk about another kind of poison. Now, I knew this woman. We'll call her Brenda. Brenda's whole life revolved around knowing everybody else's business. She had a tongue that was sharper than a brand new razor blade, and she used it to slice and dice people's reputations. If someone got a new car, Brenda would whisper that they must be in debt. If someone's kid got in trouble at school, Brenda made sure the whole neighborhood knew about it by sundown. Brenda seemed to get a special kind of joy from other people's pain and misfortune. It was like her fuel. Then she would call her friends, and they would all talk and speculate and add their own little spices to the story until the truth was completely gone. She was ruining people's lives for sport, just to have something to talk about. So what happened to Brenda? One day, Brenda's own family had a problem, a real serious problem that they wanted to keep private. Brenda, for the first time in her life, needed her neighbors to be quiet. She needed their sympathy, not their judgment. But what do you think happened? The very people she had trained to be gossips turned on her. The friends she used to call to spread rumors now called each other to spread rumors about her and her son. She felt the hot shame and embarrassment that she had inflicted on so many others for so many years. She found herself completely alone. She had no one to trust, no shoulder to cry on. The community she had poisoned with her words now had no comfort to offer her. She had spent years tearing down the fabric of trust in her neighborhood, and when she finally needed that fabric to catch her, it was full of holes. Alright, let's look at a different kind of situation. There was a guy, let's call him Mike. Mike was always in a hurry. Always. He drove his big truck like he owned the road. He would tailgate people, honk his horn for no reason, and weave in and out of lanes like a madman. One afternoon, Mike was trying to get out of a tight parking spot at the mall. He was in a rush, of course. He wasn't paying attention, and he scraped the side of the car parked next to him. It wasn't a huge dent, but it was a long, ugly scratch all the way down the passenger side door. A brand new, shiny red car. Mike looked around. Nobody saw him. There were no cameras. He had a choice to make right then and there. He could do the right thing, leave a note with his name and phone number, or he could do the selfish thing. Mike chose the selfish thing. So a few months go by. Mike is at home one weekend, feeling on top of the world. He had just spent all day Saturday washing and waxing his own prized possession, that big truck he loved so much. To him, it wasn't just a vehicle, it was a symbol of his success. It was sparkling clean, not a speck of dust on it, the chrome gleaming. He parked it on the street right in front of his house where he could look at it out the window. He felt a deep sense of satisfaction. It was perfect. The next morning, Mike wakes up, grabs his coffee, and goes to the window to admire his handiwork. But he sees something that makes his stomach drop. From a distance, something is terribly wrong. There is a huge, nasty dent, and a long, jagged scratch all down the driver's side of his beautiful truck. The metal was buckled, the paint scraped away. It was much worse than the scratch he had put on that red car at the mall. He was furious. Mike ran outside, yelling and cursing, "Who did this? How could someone be so careless? How could someone just hit my truck and drive away? What kind of low-life, no-good person does something like that?" And right there, in that moment of rage, is where the universe delivered its lesson. The karma hit him hard. The words echoed in his own mind. He got to feel the exact same powerlessness, frustration, and sense of injustice that he had inflicted on a stranger at the mall. So, what have we learned from all these stories? In every single case, the consequence was not random or a coincidence. It was a direct reflection of the bad deed. It was a perfect, tailor-made echo of your own actions, designed to teach you the very lesson you need to learn. So I'm telling you, focus on your own garden. Plant seeds of kindness, honesty, integrity, and hard work. Do the right thing, especially when nobody is watching, because that's where true character is forged. Build a life so full of goodness that when the echo inevitably comes back, all you hear are beautiful things, the sounds of loyalty and respect. Now that's how you win at the game of life.